Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lillian. In today's tutorial we are going to be making the dress you saw on the screen, and these are the materials I'm going to be using to make them. This is a boning and is a sewable one, and these are my pepper gum stay. This first one is light and the second one is hard, and they are 2 yards each. Okay, I'm going to bring in this scrap. This scrap is 2 yards and is by 60. I'm going to be using it for the top, and this flower one is for the down part. I'll be using it for the skirt, and I will also use parts of it to design the yoke. Okay, and is 6 yards by 60. This is for our bra cup. This is ready-made bra cup, and this is what I'm going to be using to make it. And this is the pattern paper I'm going to be using to draft this corset. So right now what I'm going to do is to mark out my starting point. Because this starting point will serve as our shoulder line, and that is where all the measurement will start from. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out my bust point, my under bust point, my waist point, my lower waist point, and the top length. So the next thing to do is to repeat the same thing on the other side in order to get an accurate line, and then I'll go ahead and rule this line to the other side. After that, I will mark out my shoulder line, which is 8 inches, and then mark my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. Then my neck width is 3 inches and my neck depth is 3 inches as well, although I am not going to be using this neckline. I just want to use it for guideline. I'll go ahead and connect the lines. And also connect my shoulder slope down to the neckline. Right now, to get my armhole and also my chest is to divide my round bust measurement by 6. Whatever it gives me, I'll add 1.5 to it. So right now I am marking it. My own is 8 inches, and the midpoint of my armhole is 4 inches. That is 8 inches divided by 2. You can see what I'm doing. I'll use my ruler and connect all the dots, and also connect my mark my chest line as well. So right now for my mid armhole, I am going to go in by half an inch, and also mark 10 inches for my round bust measurement divided by 4, which is 10. I marked it on the chest line because I needed to trace my armhole. This is how you trace your armhole. So after getting all of this, the next thing I did was to label all of them. And once I'm done labeling them, the next thing I did was to mark out my bust span, which is my nipple to nipple measurement. I marked it on the bust line, on the under bust, on the waistline, on the lower waistline. So right now I'm going to go ahead and connect all the dots. And I also went ahead to extend this line to the top length, because I was considering if I should extend the length of the top or not. So at the end I decided to extend it. So I repeated the same 4 inches I marked on the other lines, and then connect this line back to the first line I ruled. And the next step is for me to go to my underbust line to mark out 7.5 inch in both that leg, and then use my ruler to connect it back to the bust line. And after that, I also came up from the top length by 3 inches. I made a point there, and then change the names. Remember I told you that I was thinking if I should extend the length of the top or not. So what I did was to change the names. This is my lower waist, and the down part is the top length right now. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So right now I'm going to go ahead and connect this line back to the underbust line. I repeated the same thing on the other side. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark out my second dart. And to do that, I have to take what I had from the first dart and replace it on the other side. You can see what I'm doing here. I marked it on the underbust line, and then use my ruler to extend it to the top length. So on the waistline, I am going to go out by 1/2 inch on the both side. So after marking it on the both side, I am going to use my ruler to connect it back to the underbust line as shown. Okay, so the next thing I did was to go up by 3 inches. Remember on the first dart we came up by 3 inches, so I'm going to repeat the same thing on this second dart. So I'll go up by 3 inches, and then from there I am going to connect it back to the waistline. And another thing, you have to be patient in watching this video because we are drafting the front and back together. Okay, please be patient. And the next step is to divide our shoulder into 2. And then make a point there. Then use my ruler and connect it from the bust line up to the shoulder line. So right now I want to mark my body measurement, which is my round bust divided by 4. I marked it there, and also mark on the under bust, on the waistline, on the lower waistline, and also on the top length. My top length is 24 and my hip is 26, so I'm going to be using my round hip measurement to mark on that top length. Okay, so after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to replace my dart intake. I replaced the first dart, and also I repeated the same thing on the waistline because there is a dart there. I think it's about 1 inch, and I replaced it there. And then also the second dart, I replaced the second dart on the waistline. And then I'm going to use my ruler right now to mark all the points, like connect all the points. Okay, now we've gotten our nipple to nipple dart. The next step is for us to get our bust center darts. So my own, I went up by 1/4 inch and down by 1/4 inch as well. Right now I'm going to use my ruler to connect it back to the nipple to nipple darts. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. So once this is done, the next step is for us to get our side darts. My side dart is 1.5 inch, so I'm going to get it from the bust line down to 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to also connect it back to the nipple to nipple darts leg. After getting my side dart, I'm going to use my tape to measure what I have from my bust line to my under bust line. So what I have there is 4. I'm going to mark it on this dart line and go out by 1/2 inch in both sides. So once I'm done doing this, I'm going to use my ruler to connect it from my bust line to the point I made up there. And I hope you know what we are trying to do here. We are trying to create our cup, okay? So these are the process. So what I'm going to do right now is to come out on this that side, the center that side. I'll come out by inch or 1/4 inch and connect it back to the our bust line. Okay, this is going to make the two of them equal. Okay, and now I am going to go out by 1/2 inch for my side dart. I'm going to replace my side dart by adding 1/2 inch, because once you cut out these darts, this side darts, the length is not going to be equal. So I'm going to add this 1/2 inch and connect it back to the waistline. And by doing this, you're not going to have a shortage on the length of the top. Okay, so whenever you add your side darts, please make sure you replace it and then connect it back to the waistline. So once this is done, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to determine how deep I want my cup to be. Okay, right now from the center dart, I'm going to go up by 1/4 inch. You can see what I'm doing there, and I'm going to repeat the same thing on the down part. So I'm going to also repeat the same thing on the armhole side. I came down by 1/2 inch and also came down by 1/2 inch on the downside. So right now I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch from the point I made earlier, from the center point. So I'm going to use my ruler right now to connect it back to that point. Please be careful how you place your ruler, because how you place it determines how good your cup will come out. So I connected it back to the point I made earlier. You can see it. So just watch how I'm going to connect the armhole side. So I'm going to connect it this way back to the armhole and then replace my ruler. I'm going to come down a little bit. You can see what I'm trying to do here. You can see how beautiful it's coming. It's coming out. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on the down part. I'll place my ruler and then connect it back to the point I made. Make sure your ruler is sitting perfectly, please. I repeated the same thing on this side. And arrange my ruler very well and connect it back to the dart leg. The first dart leg. You can see what I'm trying to do here. See, our cup is coming out gradually. I'll extend this line back to the 1/2 inch I came out for my side darts. I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side, and on the center I'm going to connect it back to the folded edge. and the down part I'm going to repeat the same thing. You can see what I did. So these are the areas I'm going to cut off. These are the areas, okay. Right now we are going to determine the style we want for our top length, okay. On the lower waistline I am going to come up by 1 inch, and then on the side I'm going to go out by 2 inches as shown. And on the dart, on our dart, first dart, I'm going to go up by 3 inches and connect it as shown. If you want your own to be like my own, exactly like my own, you have to place your ruler the way I am placing my own. Make sure you arrange your ruler well. And I'm going to connect it to the folded edge, that is to the center. You can see. So once this is done, the next thing right now is for us to cut all the areas that we do not need. Please be careful when you are cutting it, okay, so you don't make mistake. Just watch what I'm doing here, and also label while cutting so you don't mix it together. I know you'll be wondering why the video is long. It's because we are cutting front and back and I'm taking it step by step. I don't want to rush it, that's why. So please pay attention, okay, and be patient, and do not forget to label while you are cutting so you don't mix everything up, okay. Right now I've gone ahead to cut everything. These are the things I need, okay. This is the yoke. I knew some of you may be wondering why I did not open my pattern paper after cutting it. It was because I don't have much pattern paper. That's why I managed the one I had. But I'm going to show you when I'm cutting it on the actual fabric, because I'm going to fold it into 2 before placing the pattern on top. Right now I'm going to remove this down part and bring in the upper part. And to do that I have to bring in another paper, okay, and place this upper part on top. Just watch what I'm trying to do here, how I am arranging the cup. So I'm going to use my pin and hold it down so that it will stay in place, and use my tape to measure 1/4 of an inch, or you can come out small, or 1/4 of an inch, and then connect it this way. I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side. I'll connect it back to the point I came out to. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and cut off these areas. So I'll go ahead and cut all the areas that I do not need. So after that, I'm going to remove all these pins to show you. Right now it's going to be 1. You can see what I'm trying to explain here. It's no longer 2, it's now 1. I'll keep this aside and then bring in another paper for our back. I'm going to arrange the back on this paper I brought in. I'm going to arrange all the back here. Just watch what I'm doing. Just arrange it very well. That's why I was telling you earlier that make sure you label while cutting so you don't mix it. So this is how you place the pattern paper on this plain one in order to cut your back, cut out the back, instead of starting from the beginning again. Right now I'm going to mark our chest line. You know where the front chest line stop, so I'm going to mark it and also extend this line, this side line, to this chest line. If you want your chest line, the back chest line to be straight, you can leave it like that. But if you want it curvy, you can place your ruler this way from the armhole up to the chest line. You can see what I'm trying to do here. This is it. And another thing is for me to roll a line, our waistline. This is our waistline. I'm trying to make this roll this line in order to use it as a guideline. So I'm going to roll this line down to the length of the top, and I'll repeat the same thing on the second dart. So once this whole stuff is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut all this area that I do not need. These are the area that I do not need. You can see right now they're all the same and equal. They're all the same and equal. So I'm going to remove this front one, and on the dart line I'm going to go out by 1/2 inch in both sides. I'll repeat the same thing on this side. So this is our second dart. I'm going to repeat the same thing on this second dart. I'll go out by 1/4 inch in both sides. So I will label it waistline. I'll use my ruler to connect it from the chest line down to the waistline. I'll also repeat the same thing on this end. So I'm going to also determine the length of this point and mark it, then connect it back to the dart. Right now I'm going to remove 1 inch from my loop, my back loop. Okay, I don't want to be too wide, so I'm removing 1. So this one I'm removing. Now if I'm cutting it in fold, you know it's 2, it's no longer 1. Right now these are where my loop are going to be. These places I'm making points. I'll cut it off because we don't need it anymore. I'll also cut my darts. So I'll go ahead and label it. Please always remember to label so you don't mix it, please. This is our back. You can see it's the same thing. So if you are cutting it on the material, this is my line. I first cut it on the lining. So when you are cutting it on the lining or on your actual fabric, please add 1/2 inch on the sides, but on the cup area I added 1/4 inch. Okay, but on the side I added 1/2 inch. You can see it if you look closely. This is how it's going to look when you finish cutting it. I'll be posting the making of these corsets in my next video. Please stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Bye.